Welcome back to another episode of Chatting Cinema. I'm Gianni,
I'm Flynn.
And I'm Luke.
and today we are talking the 2021 Oscar nominations. We figured we'll hit on the big ones, big categories first, and then anything else that catches our eye. We have a variety article queued up here with all the nominees. Let's start with Best Picture.
Exciting.
I think this is a pretty good list. We have The Father, we have Judas and the Black Messiah, we have Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago Seven.
Very
Surprise you
strong
guys
list.
on this list.
I think it's a very good list, especially for the weird year that we've had.
Mhm.
Like, I think we've been talking about this all year long. Like, what the hell is the Oscars going to be like this year?
Yeah.
With like the weird releases. Most of these were put out on streaming first. I'm pretty sure all of them were actually. I mean, we have 2 Netflix originals too. So and one's an Amazon Prime original.
Yep.
So it's like very strange, just off the bat with the biggest category, Best Picture. So there was one that I was there was actually 2 that I was like kind of shocked they didn't at least nominate. Was Tenet. I was shocked it didn't. I don't think it would win. I just was shocked it didn't get nominated.
Right.
And the dark horse that I was like, what if they nominate this was Palm Springs.
Yeah. I remember Palm Springs release generating some what if buzz.
Yeah, just because like it was a really well put together comedy, and I feel like the Academy is starting to trend more towards recognizing non-dramas. So I thought it would have been cool to see that. But I mean, out of this list, I still need to watch most of these. I think Flynn's probably watched the most out of all of us.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to preface the whole conversation with the fact that, like you said, Luke, we've had such an unusual year, and I think it's pretty amazing that we're going to have a really strong Oscars
Yeah.
this year, no less.
It's also
Yeah,
weird.
I was thinking the
weird
same.
that today is my birthday, and like I don't think I've ever had Oscar nominations come out on my birthday before. Like, pretty sure it's already wrapped up every year by my birthday. So
Yeah.
that's just an extra weird factor of like, this doesn't feel right timing wise.
Yeah, it definitely feels weird. Out of the Best Picture noms, I've seen everything except The Father, which is definitely on my list. I've heard pretty much universally good things about The Father. I was kind of surprised by the lack of love overall for The Five Bloods. I think it came out at the wrong time, honestly, because that's a weird quirk with the Academy that you have to plan your release around them, because if not, you're probably just going to get left in the dust a little bit. So I think it just came out too early, because I remember when The Five Bloods came out, everybody figured, and we'll get to Best Actor, but everybody figured Delroy Lindo was a lock for Best Actor, at least a nomination. And, I thought Spike maybe get director. The Five Bloods could be up for Best Picture. So really just a lack of attention there overall. And Luke, like you said, I thought Tenet might sneak in a nomination, especially with the lack of wide releases. I thought that it had a decent shot of getting a Best Picture nom. But yeah, overall, just to wrap up Best Picture and echo what you guys said, like after 2019, which was one of my favorite years for movies like ever, I loved everything that came out, like Oscar wise. It was so good. I was really nervous after, the pandemic caused such a stir with movie release dates and everything was getting delayed. I thought that this year would be really weak, and I'm very happy that that's not the case, because every movie that is on this Best Picture list that I've seen, I absolutely loved. So really strong crop of films.
Yeah, I wanted to hit on a few other films that I was also surprised didn't get any kind of recognition, where it came out a little earlier in the year, but I'm surprised that we didn't see anything for News of the World, and just some other ones that kind of really hurt me personally. I think about Sonic the Hedgehog, and
We laugh, but it actually was a good movie.
Birds of Prey kind of
Birds of
raw.
Prey.
Honestly, that is 100% sincerity. I thought Birds of Prey was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I
agree.
think the three of us all agree on Birds of Prey being just like a really great superhero movie, but also breaking norms of them at the same time. So, Best Picture in a weird year, I mean, there is some interesting ones in there because like it's not like your typical run of the mill Oscar movies either. Like I, oh wait, no, there is a biopic. I was gonna say there's no biopic finally, but there is one. You gotta have one. But
2.
oh, that's right too. Yeah, see, I don't look hard enough, but I didn't even remember *Da 5 Bloods, and I loved that movie when it came out. And I was like, this is an Oscar lock for sure, not win, but
Yeah.
at least nominated. I just feel like the
Yeah.
Academy does not like Spike, and it's getting old because
It is
Yeah.
getting
he
old.
deserves recognition, man. He's
More likely than
great.
you think.
Yeah. Ugh.
Although, you know what I
But
will say
yeah,
for all these movies, and I haven't seen all of them yet. Luke and I
Mhm.
still have some homework to do on this.
Yes, we do.
I don't know which way it's gonna go. Like looking at this list, I can't even narrow it down to 2. Like,
Mhm.
and I feel like you can do that every year.
Yeah.
But in this case, I'm just like it can go just about any way here.
Yeah.
Um, I don't even think I can rule one out. Maybe just because of the buzz it didn't get, but I would think Sound of Metal.
Yeah.
But everything else on here, it could win.
Which was so good.
Yeah,
But
Sound of Metal was so good.
I still
for
have to
the
see it. I shouldn't even
for
say anything about it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
for the 2019 Oscars, I started my campaign when we were talking about them for Parasite to win, and it was a fantastic surprise that it won Best Picture and it made the world a better place. So I'm putting my stake in the ground that I want Promising Young Woman to win Best Picture. I think it's probably the most unorthodox Oscar movie on the list of Best Picture nominees, and I think that Nomadland is probably the front runner. And if Nomadland wins, awesome, fantastic film. Chloe Zhao deserves all the love in the world for that movie. But I'm saying it right now, Promising Young Woman. I think it would be the same kind of, maybe not quite as electric as it was when Parasite won, but it would be the same kind of pleasant surprise if it took home the Best Picture win.
And to be fair, people, all you watching and listening, Flynn is 1 for 1 on those predictions. He got Parasite right last year. So
True.
he is
Just
on a
saying.
roll. If you're gonna bet on the Oscars, I think you can. We're not legal betting advisors. Don't take our advice, but Flynn thinks it's got good odds. So
There's something in the water. We'll talk about it as we go through the noms because it got a couple. So
So, moving down into Best Director, we see Promising a Woman show up again with Emerald Fennell, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, David Fincher for Mank, and Thomas Winterberg for Another Round. I haven't seen Another Round,
nope.
but I've heard good things, and Mads Mikkelsen is in it, so naturally it's probably very good.
Yeah, always the case with Mads.
This is a good list too. I haven't seen everything on this list. I tend to, but I'm happy
Right.
with it.
I just don't know why you don't nominate Spike. I don't get it. I
Again,
don't.
yes, snubbed.
That's probably the biggest snub for this category is definitely Spike. But I mean, looking at the Best Picture list, there's a lot of movies where I feel like they could have been nominated too. But I
Yeah.
know it's not just, you shouldn't just carbon copy the list, like it should be different. But I don't know, the Spike one just leaves me feeling a little uneasy about the Academy this year. Feels like a
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody kind of year if we're gonna make decisions like that. So
I know.
Although of these
Best
nominees
Director was the first big category that
that had
I think Flynn's lagging a little bit.
Yo, was that I heard Gianni talking, so I cut out of it.
sorry. Now go ahead.
No. So just of the big categories, Best Director was the first one that really shocked me because I saw like no hype for Another Round as far as like it hasn't been a typical year where like been able to map out the award season and kind of see like where things are going. And that was also in line with what Gianni said about Best Picture. Like anything can go any way, it feels like this year, really random. But Thomas Vinterberg was very, very surprising to me, because I thought, Spike for Defy Bloods or Aaron Sorkin for Trial of the Chicago 7 might slot in there. So that was a big surprise for me.
Yeah. Again, it's another category where I don't think any of us can really say which way it's going to go. Although, if I was going to make a prediction today, I would say it comes down to Chloe Zhao and Emerald Fennell.
Yep.
I think what I've heard about Nomadland and what I've heard about Promising Young Woman, and again, I have to see them, it just sounds like one of the two is a lock, and I'd be happy to see it.
I may be wrong in saying this, but I think it's the first time there's been 2 female directors nominated for Best Director.
I believe
First
that's the
time
case,
in
yes.
93 years, I think, right?
Yeah. So props to the Academy for finally recognizing more directors than the usual bunch.
Yeah.
So that's good. At least there is some progress, but still work to be done.
I would argue that you could have probably slotted Shaka King in there in Thomas Winterberg's place.
Yeah.
Yeah. For Judas and the Black Messiah.
Which we haven't really talked about yet this episode, and I know we all adored it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which, I just feel like that movie's got to come home with some award it's nominated for. Which one, I'm not sure yet, but
yeah, we'll get to the one. I think it'll take home. That'll be a tease for you guys as you continue to listen, because I think there's one.
We're gonna do a more formal prediction episode once we've seen the movies, and that'll be up right before the Oscars. Right now, we're just reacting because movie news.
Yeah, but I definitely lean. I would like to see the split for picture director, where Promising Young Woman takes home Best Picture and Chloe Zhao wins for Best Director.
So moving down into Best Actor in a Leading Role, this is another really great list. We have Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins for The Father, Gary Oldman for Mank, and Steve Yen for Minari.
Wow.
I think
what a list. What a great list of 5 actors right there. I have no clue which way it's going. From the ones I've seen, I honestly think Riz and Chadwick both put on performances that made me say, oh my God, that's an Oscar-winning performance.
Yeah.
And I still got to watch the other 3. So I really have no idea where this one's going to go.
Yeah. Of these performances, I've only seen 2, so I don't even want to comment. I don't know which way it's going to go.
Yeah. I believe that Chadwick ends up with the posthumous Oscar in this category. But Riz in Sound of Metal is such a revelation. I mean, his Reuben that's just a ridiculous full body. You feel everything he wants you to feel for Reuben, just fully in control of his craft. And that's not to take anything away from any of the other performances on this list, because I do think Chadwick will take it home for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and it'll be a well-deserved posthumous win. So those ones, I mean, Gary's great in Bank and Steven's great in Minari for sure. And again, haven't seen The Father yet, so I can't comment on Anthony Hopkins, but I've only heard good things. Again, we'll see.
All right, going into Best Actress in a Leading Role, Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Andra Day for United States versus Billie Holiday, Vanessa Kirby, Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand, Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan, Promising Young Woman. Again, another list, really great. I haven't seen too many of these just yet. I would probably say, though, given the history of the other award shows this year, Frances McDormand is probably a lock, right?
That's how it feels. But again, campaigning for Carey Mulligan. Give her the Oscar for this, you cowards. She is incredible in Promising Young Woman. Her Cassie is so fantastic. And again, not taking away from the other performances. I mean, Frances McDormand is great in Nomadland. She's so strong. And again, like with Riz's performance, it's one of those things where a great actor is able to make you feel everything they want you to feel with even the slightest things. And Frances McDormand for Nomadland really, really carries that movie, because so many of the their characters are played by real people, not trained actors. So her performance is central to that movie in, I think, kind of a unique way. So she wins again, well deserved. Sometimes, like, throughout this episode, as we've been talking, it might seem like I didn't like Nomadland. Nomadland was my second favorite movie of the year. So it, like, if it takes home all the Oscars, that's great, amazing, fantastic. It's well and richly deserved. But this is the one I think I want the most. Carey Mulligan winning Best Actress for Promising Young Woman.
Well, like I said, for Best Picture, Flynn's got a good track record of picking, so I'm with him on this Carey Mulligan hype train. But honestly, it's just another strong category for a year where we didn't think it was going to be that strong. All of the ones we talked about so far have been very strong, so I think it's just very exciting.
So I think Flynn was kind of alluding to this earlier, but in the Best Actor in a Supporting Role category, we have the two, I would argue, they were the lead actors in Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah.
Lakeith Stanfield and Daniel Kaluuya. Also on this list, we have Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of the Chicago 7, Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, and Paul Raci for Sound of Metal. I just want to say one thing about this list, because I think it kind of happens with all of these movies, with the exception of Sound of Metal. But it's tough when you have a film that was such an ensemble effort to, like, pick the actors that are going to be nominated, because everyone gives an Oscar caliber performance.
Right.
You know, in One Night in Miami, any one of them could have been nominated, in my opinion. Leslie Odom Jr. certainly deserves it. Yeah. But I think, like, Kingsley's Malcolm X was just, that's Malcolm X to me. Like, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Aldous Hodge, Eli Gorey, as Cassius Clay and Jim Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were all so good. And then especially in the case of The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, any one of them could have been nominated for this, I think. But that's just something I think the Academy struggles each year with ensemble casts in this way.
Yeah, you nailed exactly what I was thinking about this category. So before I get into that and just agreeing with everything you said, One Night in Miami was the other, like, Best Picture movie, Regina King for Best Director.
Yeah,
that I thought was a bit of a snub, because I thought that movie was phenomenal. But yeah, Kingsley Adir's Malcolm X, and that was the one performance going into that movie where I was like, okay, you know, all this is Brown and, like, Leslie Odom Jr., these are performances that immediately I can be like, okay. But Kingsley Adir had to follow in the footsteps of what I think is one of the greatest performances in the history of cinema, in Denzel Washington's Malcolm X for Spike's film on his life. And the fact that he made it so much his own, Kingsley Adir, in this movie, and made it distinct yet still felt like the same person, it was just incredible to me. And yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen in Trial of Chicago 7, I mean, that and One Night in Miami, just the definitions of ensemble movies. Like, it's so difficult to pick one person out of that. But the Academy did it. It's Sacha Baron Cohen. And that was the person that I probably thought, like, after the movie ended, if they were going to pick somebody, it was probably going to be him. But Sacha Baron Cohen, well deserved. If you didn't like Trial of Chicago 7, pretend it's for Borat too. And yeah, Paul in Sound of Metal, there's a scene in Sound of Metal, and, you know, I'm not going to spoil anything or talk about specifics, but that just turned me into waterworks. And then I tried to describe it to people, like, what happened after, and it made me cry again thinking about it. So that is another richly deserved nominee. And then, yeah, Kaluuya and Lakeith, like, they're both leads in this movie. It's just one of those things where, like, the Academy, the people behind the film were like, okay, will campaign for them as supporting actors because they probably have a better shot at getting the nomination and the win. I do think Daniel Kaluuya wins this Oscar, and I do think it's very well deserved. He's who I would pick if I was handing out the Best Supporting Actor Oscar. His Fred Hampton is absolutely magnetic. That's one of the great performances of the year. So I think he'll get it, and it's well deserved. And this was another surprise because I thought Chadwick was going to get both actor nominations. I thought he was going to get one in lead for Ma Rainey, and I thought he was going to get a supporting nod for Defy Bloods, which is the performance I actually prefer. I think he's incredible in Defy Bloods. And it's honestly kind of, revisiting that movie after his passing, like it just takes on a whole new meaning, especially because of the space that his character occupies in that movie. So that I was kind of surprised that he didn't get the nomination here. I figured that he probably would have swapped out for Lakeith Stanfield. But either way, this is another stacked category, and all of them are so deserving of these nominations.
I don't know what else I can add because you guys really hit the nail on the head for this one. But I think the one thing I do want to say is that I never want to be the person that has to pick between Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield as the main character of that movie, because they both were and they both owned it, and it was two of the best performances I've seen in a long time. But yeah, I mean, this is just another really strong category. I still need to see One Night in Miami, but I've seen the rest. And Flynn, I know which scene you're talking about in Sound of Metal with Paul. And yes, it made me cry too. It's just an emotional movie. Good luck, Gianni. But I'm very excited to see where this one goes, especially just because I feel like with Keith Stanfield, Daniel Kaluuya, Sacha Baron Cohen, literally all of them. I don't want to read all their names because all of them have been underappreciated in Hollywood, underappreciated in entertainment. And like they all are really getting chances to shine now. And I just think it's really cool. And this is one of the ones where I wish everybody could win it. Like when Bon Joon-ho said, I wish I could cut the trophy in 5 pieces and share it with everybody. That's how I feel about a lot of these, but especially this one.
Yeah.
All right, moving on down into Best Actress in a Supporting Role. We have Maria Bakalova. I apologize if I'm butchering that. In Borat, subsequent movie film. Glenn Close in Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman in The Father, Amanda Seyfried in Mank, and Yo Jung-yoon in Minari.
I haven't seen any of these.
I have some reservations about this list. And that reservation, it's really just one, is that Dominique Fishback should be on it.
Yes.
Yes, okay, I have seen that and I agree.
And I loved Mank. I really enjoyed it. But I feel like Lily Collins gave a better performance than Amanda Seyfried if we're going to go for supporting role here.
Yes.
And even in that way, I still think Dominique Fishback should be on here in place with someone else.
I would have given Dominique Fishback the win.
Yeah, same.
The fact that she didn't
100%.
get nominated. Again, no spoilers about the movie, but there's a scene involving poetry with Dominique Fishback and Judas and the Black Messiah that is just ridiculous. Like one of the best acted scenes I have seen all year, probably all time. Like that was the moment where I was like, wow, this is a special performance. So yeah, I'm very upset about the lack of inclusion for her. And I think Amanda Seyfried is probably gonna take it home for Mank. Looking at the list.
You think so?
Yeah, I that's where I lean as far. I was honestly surprised that all the love Mank got. I'm happy about it because Fincher stand for life. But yeah, if I had to pick somebody that was going to win today, that I thought it's probably Amanda. But man,
I think Olivia Colman takes it.
Could be. I haven't seen The Father, so I definitely need to see that to round it out.
I'm gonna just say Eugene Young's gonna win it because we're all making predictions and I want to be part of it.
I would really like that. That's another really good performance.
I might watch that today, like when we're done. So
yeah, I have a lot of catching up to do. I'm gonna get into that for sure.
We got homework, bud.
Yeah. I have a midterm tonight for those listening and watching. Can't wait. Okay, so moving down into best animated feature film. I think this one's probably a lock for Soul. It's my pick personally for the year. But we have Onward, Over the Moon, Shaun the Sheep, Farmageddon, Wolfwalkers, and as I just said, Soul.
Yeah, so Academy, I got a bone to pick with you. So this is my my anime side coming out, because I'm probably gonna write some blog posts about anime, since you guys, I haven't convinced you guys to watch it yet, but I gotta express my anime side on this podcast somehow. And I understand that, like, yes, I'm a diehard fan of this show, but Demon Slayer Mugen Train came out this year. And in Japan, it broke records held by Howl's Moving Castle and other Studio Ghibli movies. It shattered records. Demon Slayer shattered manga volume sales records this year by selling 82 million volumes this year alone. This show and series has been such a cultural impact, and they literally released it in a weekend just so it would be eligible to be nominated, and they didn't nominate it. Do I care if it doesn't win? No, I just wanted it to be there on that stage, because Demon Slayer has been such an amazing show. I freaking love it. And apparently the movie's amazing. Only like a handful of people in Florida have seen it for one weekend in America, but everybody and their mother in Japan has went and seen it. Even during a pandemic, it was breaking box office records for anime films. So yeah, I do love Soul. I think Soul is a great movie, and I heard Wolfwalkers was really good. And Onward is not one of my favorite Pixar movies, but I did like it. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just Pixar's setting an unrealistic scale for themselves at this point with how many bangers they make. So it's just getting to the point where, like, how can you just keep outdoing yourself when you made 4 good Toy Story movies and it never got old? But yeah, so, and I mean, I'm not gonna watch the Shaun the Sheep one, but I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's a great animated film. And I've heard Over the Moon's cool too, but damn it, I wanted my freaking Demon Slayer representation. There he is, right there, main character. I dropped his sword though. I got it.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know if I have anything interesting to add for best animated feature.
That was one of my biggest rants I've ever done on this podcast. Whoops.
I actually think that I'm maybe the one person in existence that preferred Onward to Soul. I really loved Onward. But Soul's gonna win, and it's gonna be well deserved. Like, Soul was phenomenal too. I really connected with the core story and message of Onward. But yeah, I've only seen the Disney ones. I only saw Onward and Soul. I didn't see the other ones, so not much interesting to discuss there.
I think Soul takes it because it kind of combined every aspect of like filmmaking that, like, we look in for, like, best picture and like all those things, but then also the animation was gorgeous. Like, it really it felt like Pixar was up to something new with this one. And, like, I mean, if you see it, you know what we're talking about. That there's like scenes that just, they feel so beautiful, like they and like just to look at. And then also, because this movie had a big theme with music, the music tied in so nicely throughout. So Soul definitely deserves it. I was just a little mad that my anime movie didn't get nominated. That's all.
All right. Some of these other categories, I think I'd rather save for when we're doing a proper predictions right before the actual Oscars.
Yes.
Although I do want to take a quick look at some of these screenplay nominations, and I think original screenplay is going to be really, really tough.
Yeah.
I know, Flynn, you're pulling for Promising Young Woman, which I really need to see. But this can go anyway.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, you have Aaron Sorkin on this list.
Yeah.
Is this the first time on this podcast that we have Gianni and Flynn not rooting for Aaron Sorkin?
Nope. I'm really glad that Emerald Fennell got the nomination for this one, but I 100% Sorkin.
Okay, yeah, never mind. The world is right. We're in a simulation.
Yeah.
If the only Oscar Trial of the Chicago 7 takes is screenplay, I'll be happy and satisfied, and I think it deserves it.
Yeah,
100%.
That script
strong list.
Sings. Like, that script is so fantastic.
Yeah.
And I get, like, I've posted about this before. I know that it's like not cool to like Sorkin now. Like, it's become like a thing. But I mean, I think he's the best screenwriter working in Hollywood. I really do. Like, I love his work. and Trial of the Chicago 7, I think, like, takes all of his prior influences and kind of updates it. Like, I think that Trial of the Chicago 7 is a bit more realistic politically than The West Wing ever was. Like, The West Wing was kind of idealistic, whereas Trial of Chicago 7 was more realistic. And I thought that was a good growth for Sorkin as, like, the landscape continues to shift. And I mean, yeah, that it's just a fantastic script, but this category is absolutely stacked. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to pick who's going to win, but I would definitely give it to Sorkin.
Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else I really, really wanted to touch on.
I think it's funny, and not funny, but like also funny how many Borat got nominated for. Like, I don't mean
I
funny.
know, right?
I just mean like, whoa, like, okay, Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something I didn't know, and this is on me for not reading credits, but I didn't know that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross did the scores for Mank and Soul. I knew about Soul. I didn't know about Mank. And
I love them so much.
that's incredible. Like, that's crazy.
Right. It's so, like, Soul is a different story, but Mank feels so not them.
Yeah,
Like, it
that's what I
feels
was
like
gonna
such a
say.
departure from their collaborations with Fincher. And that score totally fits that movie. Minari has one of the best scores I've ever heard. Like, it's one of those movies where, like, you know, like, even if there wasn't dialogue, you could just sit and listen to it. Like, that's how good the score is. Although I can't believe that, like, this is where The Five Bloods got recognition. Like,
Yeah.
no offense at all. Like, it's still a good score, but it's really surprising that this is where they're like, yeah, okay, let's toss them a bone here. And I haven't seen News of the World, but
That
I
was a good score.
I
That
kind
was.
of wish Ludwig Göransson got a little something for Tenet. I thought that score was really, really good.
Yeah, I do think Ludwig deserved a nod at least, but I will say one of the strongest parts of News of the World was definitely the score. I would say the score and the cinematography were the strongest parts of that movie, which I will look best cinematography News of the World. But yeah, I mean, I think that category is just always fun because every year that's kind of one of the wild cards. Like
Yeah.
seeing Soul up for it, like yes, it's Reznor and Ross, but like still an animated movie. Like I like seeing that kind of variety because animated movies shouldn't be limited to just the animated movie category.
Yeah, exactly.
And like especially when a score as good as Soul happens. So I am glad that got a nomination.
I think the last category I want to touch on before we wrap this up is best cinematography because we're kind of talking about it already. So Judas and the Black Messiah from Sean Bobbitt, Mank, Eric Messerschmidt, News of the World, Darius Wolski, Nomadland, Joshua James Richards, and Trial of the Chicago 7, Feed and Papa Michael. This is a great list.
I got two major snubs though. I think major snubs.
Yeah.
And that's The Five Bloods. I genuinely think I think that is the best shot movie of the year between the flashback war scenes to the modern, like the way they captured Vietnam. It was insane. It really was. And then I would say Tenet. I don't think Tenet deserves to win, but I do think that its cinematography deserved a nomination.
Yep.
I do love but of the ones I've seen, like I just said, News of the World was really strong. Trial of Chicago 7, they made. Now it wasn't quite one location movie. It was almost like one of those where a majority was in the courtroom. But I do think that cinematography was really good too. And Judas and the Black Messiah was insane. Like that was another really great one. I still need to see Mank and Nomadland, but I just wanted to throw my snubs out there because dang, I thought they got snubbed.
Yeah.
I'm basing this prediction solely on previous award shows, but I think it's really going to come down to Nomadland and Mank for this category.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the two snubs you brought up, Luke, and then I would throw in Minari as well. I think that movie is gorgeous. But yeah, this was an interesting list to me when I read it. Like, not that and the only one I haven't seen in here is News of the World, but not that I would necessarily take any of these out. It just, I guess, wasn't what I was expecting. That's fine. It's a good category. I know I don't want to get into the best documentary feature one because I have not seen any of these, but I just want to echo something that David Farrier, who's a New Zealand-based journalist, he made the documentary Tickled, which is really good, and he was behind Netflix's Dark Tourist. He first brought this to my attention because documentary features one of the categories that the Academy releases a short list of. Um, and the documentary Feels Good Man was not even on the short list, let alone got a nomination. And I just highly recommend that to anyone that has even a passing interest in internet culture, because I don't know that I've seen a better exploration of internet culture than Feels Good Man. So just wanted to give that some love as we wrap up because I saw the documentary category there.
Yeah. So I think that's a good place to kind of wrap up for our reactions and discussions of the Oscar nominations. Again, we're going to do a proper episode when we've seen all of these nominees and we can make some real predictions as to who's going to win. I'm really excited though for a year that again we thought was going to be really tough for movies.
Yeah.
We got some amazing content this year, amazing films.
So many strong categories too.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said this entire time, I don't know who's gonna win these. I need to watch more of them, but man, it's gonna be a fun Oscars.